I am Matt Hansen. This is Jim Deedlow. We are the Mastering Local Marketing podcast, and we are going to be talking about building you up and becoming the local celebrity today. Ready for this?
Average business person right now is like scared. They're like, what? I like to just do my thing in my business.
Right.
But not everyone. Some people have the understanding that they might have some skills in that way of communication, and that really if you have your own business or you're in a local business, you'll do anything to increase sales, even if you don't want to be that celebrity.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
That's exactly how it is, right? And so we've talked a lot about the funnel, and just to rehash that, it's awareness, consideration, and then conversion, right? So today we're talking about awareness and how we can literally put you out there so it seems like you're everywhere, right? And Jim and I were talking about this earlier before we came on today, and how the two of us, even though we're not huge brands or anything like that, when we walk around areas, I had it the other day, somebody goes, "Oh, you're Matt Hansen." And I'm like, "Who are you?" And you see this all the time, and you joke that sometimes you just kind of want to walk away, but you see this, right? Like you've been around this area, and your name is out there enough, just as you go through life in your business, to where people will actually recognize you out in public, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, when it was radio, I had to talk,
right?
And now that I'm on JED TV and on the TV, it has changed the game. I could go anywhere anonymously, and now that doesn't happen at all, and it bugs the crap out of my daughter and my wife and stuff, because to tell the story, I used to just like walk away from it and like, okay, thanks, listen.
Yeah.
But I had a Chicago radio guy, Dan McNeil, who has questionable social skills just like I do. And he said, "Hey, man, I'm going to tell you something someone told me." He's like, everyone who comes up to you, if you're a jerk to them, they're going to tell 100 people what a jerk you are. He goes, you have to give everybody who walks up to you 3 minutes. And it doesn't matter if you know them or don't know them or whatever. You got to give them 3 minutes, ask them where they're from. You got to engage them.
Right.
And that is part of it. If you're going to go through the process that we're talking about right now, understand that there is a maintenance part to that, that you have to maintain that communication.
Right. And I would assume if you're in business, you want to kind of go through that, right? So you're growing your business, and if somebody wants to talk to you about your business, I would assume you'd want to have that conversation, right? So don't run away from it. Take those 3 minutes or whatever, and really kind of have a conversation about you and how do you know me? I see your ads on XYZ, right? Ask them questions, right? So what do you think about the ads? Do you think they're working? Do your friends and family know about us? That kind of stuff, right? So, but I think today, let's kind of pull it back, right? Everyone's like, oh, celebrity, whatever. What we're talking about today is really an omnichannel marketing approach. And what that means is it's the same messaging, the same everything, but it appears to be coming from everywhere. And it's really not that hard to do, but we're going to talk about that today and kind of how you can go about doing that.
So on a lot of the different angles we come in, from email marketing, from setting up the funnel, all that stuff, we almost start with the same thing every time, and that is understanding your audience.
Right.
Now, when you talk about omni-channel marketing, there is that part of it. You set yourself up. I like to think of it more as an expert in certain fields, but also, you could be known. How do you go about understanding who you want to be known to?
Right. So you have your typical audience that you have seen success with in the past. Could be certain neighborhoods. It could be certain income levels. It could be certain. It could even be a certain type of gender, right? So, Curves women's gym, right? Obviously, they're targeting a certain type of gender, right? So we have to understand what our best customers are going to look like, and then start to go, well, where do we find those customers? So I had a conversation with a former student of mine that started a cleaning business. And when she started, she was kind of driving all over the place. She was one town, and then she's driving 30 minutes to the next town and 20 minutes to the next town. And I said, why don't you just own a town or a city or a neighborhood or something along those lines and just start to target those individuals? So we started having the conversations and realized that she didn't want to spend 40 minutes driving from one job to the other. You want to be in the same neighborhood. So her business completely changed because she took that focus, and now she's cleaning 5 houses or 4 houses in a neighborhood at a time instead of driving all over the place.
So once again, just like all of the other segments we talk about, you really have to know who you want to hit. And to me, I want to bring that out again to the average local business. Matt is, he works does his own business, and he also teaches this here as a clinical professor at Purdue Northwest. I deal with on the ground clients a lot, and they don't know. They don't know how to figure out who they're trying to talk to.
Right. Number one thing that I always tell people to do is a lot of people have a mailing list, right? Take your mailing list and plot it on a map and see what happens. What you're going to notice is roughly around 90% of the people that are shopping with you are within a 20-minute drive of you. Okay, now I know, right? And then you start to see these clusters of individuals in certain neighborhoods. All right, now I'm starting to understand a little bit better. And you just dive deeper and deeper. And once you get that deep into it, you start to understand, okay, Mary over in this neighborhood, I really know her really well, and let me start to understand who Mary is. So you have to look at it look at customers from a day in the life, right? So today, if you're targeting me, I wake up, this morning I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I went and had my cup of coffee. I grabbed my phone. I went on a few social networks, checked my email, went on a few websites. And, from there, I got in my car. I put on a podcast that I like to listen to. Even better, when I took a shower, I put a streaming music device going, right? So I'm listening to music. I get in the car. I'm driving. I have a couple different places to go. I got here. I opened my laptop. I checked a few more things, right? So there's all of these things that are going on in a day in your life. So you go to work, you do your work thing, you drive home, maybe you go to dinner at night. There's all of these different things that we do. So if you start to understand that, you realize that there's all these opportunities for touch points that if I can put my messaging out there in the right locations all along the day, you're going to hear or see my ads, my messaging. And it's going to become, I don't want to say repetitive, but you're going to see me everywhere. And you're going to start to understand at that point, this person is almost like a local celebrity. I'm seeing them everywhere, so they must be legit, right? And that's what we're talking about today. We're going to kind of go through different methods that you can target and realize that as we're going through the day, these are touch points that people are seeing.
Just one going in the weeds there. We use Atlas.com, and I've actually gone back and forth with the guy who developed it. And when we, say, if we're going to do a needs analysis, we say, all right, let's plot. There's a wings place across the way here. And I'm like, where are those things? And we put them on a map, and I'm like, gosh, that is right in the middle of where we do all of our high school basketball. Using the map and looking at it gives you a visual.
Right.
So we're talking about omni-channel marketing, right?
Right.
How does social fit into it?
Well, so a lot of people look at social, there's two ways, right? There's owned social and there's paid social. And a lot of our audience is probably out there doing owned social, which means you've got your Instagram, your TikToks, your Facebook, and you're posting things for your business. And one way to look at this, and I know you and I had talked about in a previous episode, I forget which one it was, but we talked, whether you're boosting posts or you're paying, through the ads manager and all this stuff with Meta and all those types of things. But right before we came on today, you mentioned there are certain posts that you make on your Facebook page, right? And you'll get 30,000 views on those.
So it's if we do a high school, highlight at the end of a game, and someone made a big shot, we did that on Tuesday night, got 30,000 views.
Right. 30,000 views, right? A lot of our audience is sitting there going, I would love to have 30,000 views. But what that's showing is that content that you're showing with the 30,000 views is relevant to your audience. Now, you put something else out there and it only gets 200 views, right? And we don't need to share details, but you did, right?
Produced content that is getting 200 to 700 views.
Right.
Yeah.
So 200 views, 30,000 views. You want to know a real cool trick? Take the 30,000 view one and just boost it. And I know we talked about not boosting things, but just boost it. Put $1, $2 into it every single day. And what happens is through the feeds, people start to see you over and over and over again for relatively no money, right? So even if you spend $1 a day boosting posts, take the good posts that are getting the engagement and just boost those. You're not trying to sell anything. Because remember, we were talking about we're in the funnel. We're trying to generate awareness. We're not trying to get married to our customer. We're not trying to sell them on something. We're literally trying to develop you as the local celebrity and generate enough awareness of you. So if they start to see these things that are relevant to your audience and you're pushing those things out there consistently, not expensive in any means, right? But push that content out there, they'll see it in their feeds over and over and over again. So take 3 or 4 of those individual posts that have done really well and boost that content with relatively a few dollars here and there. And what happens is people see it over and over and over again. You're not trying to sell them. You're just generating awareness.
And just if you've never done it, to boost a post on Facebook is pretty easy. Actually, on all the social media.
It's pretty elementary.
Yeah,
it's not
you just
hard.
take you a few minutes, and if it sounds a little intimidating, maybe it is in the beginning, but once you do one, you're done. You know how to do it. Google, where does it fit in?
Okay, so again, we talked about social, right? Whether it's owned or paid social. I woke up this morning, I was having my coffee, I'm flipping through Instagram and all the other ones, right? At that point, I've gone through social. Now I've gone to the internet and I'm searching for certain things, right? So we have Google My Business, which I tell everyone, if you're not on Google My Business, please get out there, claim your business, populate it, go through the whole thing that they ask you to do. I'm not going to get into that today, but if I'm searching for something, and I've done plenty of searches this week for different businesses, the number one thing that you're going to see is Google My Business pops up, right? And it'll provide you, if I'm searching for a restaurant, it'll provide me with a variety of restaurants, local, right? And I'll see it there. Okay, so now I've seen you on own social, right? So you're not promoting anything necessarily. I've seen you in paid social because I've been on the feeds. Now I go to my browser and I search for something. Now I see you there. Okay, those are 3 touch points already, and I'm not even done with my coffee yet, right? So that's what I mean. Like, there are so many ways that we can be in front of these people, but most people don't do all of them.
Direct mail.
Direct mail is great. So years ago, people didn't want to get direct mail, right? So it's bills, it's those types of things. And I think that the way we are today, most of us have taken our bills and we've automated them, right? So it comes straight out of our checking or paid with a credit card or whatever it may be. So the inbox, or our mailbox, I should say, has gotten a lot less busy. And with that, people are actually enjoying getting mail these days, right? So even the new generation, like the college kids that I deal with all the time, they love getting mail, right? They think it's great when they get the mail. My son checks his mailbox every single day at school, and I laughed because I finally just sent him something so he'd have something to see. But use the mailbox. We can target individual people, individual neighborhoods. So if you know this certain neighborhood has a good majority of your customers, send them a mailer and change that mailer up. It could be a postcard one time. It could be, send them a calendar, send them something, right? Every couple months. And what ends up happening is now you're on their social. Now they're seeing you in Google My Business. Now you're getting direct mail, right? So the awareness factor is going into your head. We are everywhere, and we're still going with ideas.
This is episode 16. Matt Hansen. I'm Jed, and this is Mastering Local Marketing. Episode 15 was all about email, and I know you just want to touch on that. If you want to get deeper into email, just go back and listen to that one. But how does that fit into the omni-channel marketing?
First thing I check in the morning, email, right? I don't know about you, but I open it up, I look at it, I see what's there. A couple hours later, I check it again. A couple hours later, I check it again, right? It's an all-day thing. So if you have an email list, which we talked in previous episode, right? Develop that email list. Again, provide content. Don't necessarily sell every time. Provide, insights, things that are happening. If you're a realtor, what's the St. Patrick's Day events that are coming up, right? So that's where we're heading. There's all kinds of things that are being developed right now, events that in the next couple of weeks. Provide that, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be selling a house, but it could be some valuable content to go, oh, I forgot about the parade. I want to go to that. So now I have that information. And, Matt Hansen's email was the one that sent that to me.
Programmatic. What is that?
So programmatic sounds intimidating, but really what it is it's display ads that go across the internet, right? So the best way that I hear people explain it is they're billboards on the internet. And it's just, they're the ads that you see when you go to check the weather, right? This morning it's cold outside. The sun's out, but it's still cold. And, I think we're supposed to get up to 60 next week. So I was kind of checking that. So I went to the weather.com and looked, and there's ads there. Those ads many times are being sent from a local company, right? So programmatic basically is a window into all of these websites that you visit. So if you're on, weather.com or you go to a Yahoo or something like that, many of those ads that are populating are local businesses that are using a programmatic solution. So you can drop a geofence on top of an area that you want to be and only target that, right? So some perfect examples. I have a lawyer client of mine that I work with and absolutely love them, and they've given me complete flexibility. We target specific areas and drop geofences over those areas because we know those are where people are going based on the services that they're providing. It's the same thing if you want to own a neighborhood, right? Literally drop it on a neighborhood and then run the programmatic ads over that neighborhood so they're going to see it over and over and over again, right? So now, again, we're social, both owned and paid. We're in email, we're in Google My Business, and now we're following you across the internet. So you're seeing that as well.
Partnerships, volunteering, that is just another omni-channel place to go.
Right. So everything that goes out there, right? So we talked about the boosting some of the own content. Maybe you were at an event, right? So maybe you went to, kind of like a feeding the area kind of event, right? Whatever it is, promote it, right? So show people that you're out there and about, that you're trying to help the community, that you're part of the community, and do stuff like that. We go back to Google My Business. You have video and you have photos that you can include in that. Why not partner with other businesses to where you're in their photos and videos working with them and they're in yours? So now you're partnering along with other people and you're saying, man, you're in Google My Business for you, but you're also in it for this company and this company. And you start to build these relationships. And quite honestly, you're everywhere.
That's 7 channels if you go back and count them up. The 8th one is actually what we're doing right now,
Right.
is to do a podcast. Now, just so little background here, I own this media here, and we do a lot of different businesses come on and talk on our radio and on our TV, and I hung out the shingle for people to do a podcast. Hey, I've told a few people, I cannot believe the demand for doing a podcast. Right. Why do you think that is?
Listening habits have changed at this point, right? So everyone is an on-demand listening platform. That's where we're at this point, right? So I listen to the radio in my car every once in a while. My kids never listen to anything on the radio Everything is streamed. They want the aux cable in the car every single time. Let me play my music, all that kind of stuff, right? So we're on streaming devices at this point. We're streaming our music, but we're also streaming podcasts. And the prices come down drastically to be involved in that. So again, I mentioned earlier, I was listening to music this morning. I was listening to a podcast on the way here. I'll probably listen to a podcast on the way home, right? So instead of the traditional radio that we're used to, we have now gone to this, right? So and there are plenty of platforms, and I'm not going to necessarily push any of them today, but there are plenty of platforms out there that you can put your ad out there, whether it's audio or if it's just a simple banner that you want to put out there as well.
You can either put your ad into the podcast.
Right.
If there's somebody you like locally, just contact them. Or you can do your own podcast like we're doing right now. I mean, either one. I mean, that's going a little bit of extra stuff. In general, you talked about all of these channels. It can seem overwhelming.
Right. It can. But once you start to understand, again, sit down, understand each and every one of them. A lot of them you can kind of put on autopilot, right? So set it up, launch it. You can turn it on and off when you want. And just realize there are certain times of the year that you want to push harder than others, right? So if you're a realtor, obviously in the wintertime, nobody wants to move when it's snowing outside. But as spring starts to come up, boost it. Like, let's go. Let's start getting all kinds of stuff out there. But realize that we can, with what we have at this point, we can literally drop right on top of you all kinds of messaging in all different places. And, people are going to notice. They're going to stop you just like they do with Jim.
Become the local celebrity. Anybody who ever comes up to you, you got to give it at least 3 minutes. Right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. We'll see you for the next episode.
All right, guys. Until next time, see you later.